In a quaint village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush greenery, there lived a humble tanner named Hans. With calloused hands and a weary heart, Hans toiled day in and day out, his small shop barely providing enough to feed his large family. Despite his hardships, Hans was known far and wide for his quick wit and sharp tongue, traits that often landed him in both trouble and triumph. One sweltering summer day, as Hans sat in his shop mending leather, a swarm of flies descended upon the village, buzzing and darting in every direction. Frustrated by the relentless pests, Hans slammed his hand down on the table in a fit of anger. To his amazement, he managed to crush 7 flies at once, a feat that seemed nothing short of miraculous. Word of Hans's extraordinary feat spread like wildfire through the village, earning him a reputation as a gallant knight of sorts. Though he laughed off the praise, Hans couldn't help but feel a swell of pride at the attention. As fate would have it, Hans's newfound fame would lead him on an unexpected journey into the depths of the unknown. One evening, as he made his way to the village well to fetch water, he stumbled upon a group of devils lounging beside the water's edge. Their fiery eyes gleamed in the dim light, and Hans felt a shiver run down his spine at the sight. Undeterred by the menacing creatures, Hans approached the well with caution, his heart pounding in his chest. To his surprise, the devils regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and amusement, intrigued by the tanner's reputation as a gallant knight. "Tell me, tanner," one of the devils sneered, "how did a mere mortal like yourself come to possess such strength?" With a shrug of his shoulders, Hans replied, "It was nothing more than a stroke of luck, my dear devil. A lucky blow, if you will." The devils chuckled amongst themselves, impressed by Hans's nonchalant demeanor. Sensing an opportunity for mischief, they propositioned the tanner with an offer he couldn't refuse. "We are in need of a strong and capable servant," the devil declared. "Someone to carry water for us from this well to the depths of the infernal fire. Will you be our servant, tanner?" Hans's mind raced with thoughts of the riches that awaited him in the realm of the devils. Though hesitant at first, he saw an opportunity to better provide for his family and accepted the devil's offer with a nod of his head. But the devil was not finished yet. "In exchange for your service," he continued, "we shall bestow upon you a load of gold to carry home on your back, a reward fit for a gallant knight such as yourself." Hans's eyes widened at the devil's offer, his heart racing with excitement at the prospect of wealth beyond his wildest dreams. Without hesitation, he agreed to the bargain, sealing his fate with a handshake and a solemn vow. And so, with the promise of riches and adventure dancing before his eyes, Hans embarked on a journey into the unknown, leaving behind the familiar comforts of home for a life of mystery and intrigue. Little did he know, the path he had chosen would lead him to the greatest adventure of all, where bravery and cunning would be put to the ultimate test in the land of the devils. In the aftermath of his deal with the devils, Hans, the tanner, found himself faced with a daunting task. The devils had tasked him with carrying water from the village well to the depths of the infernal fire, a task that seemed impossible for a mere mortal like himself. But Hans was not one to shy away from a challenge. With determination in his heart and a twinkle of mischief in his eye, he set out to devise a plan that would outsmart even the most cunning of devils. As Hans approached the well, he pondered his predicament. How could he fulfill his end of the bargain without subjecting himself to the fiery depths of hell? Suddenly, a mischievous idea took root in his mind, and he began to chuckle to himself. With a twirl of his cloak and a flourish of his hand, Hans pretended to gather up the entire well in his arms. He shouted to the devils, "Behold, I have brought the well to you as promised." The devils, taken aback by Hans's audacity, recoiled in fear. In their eyes, they saw not a mere mortal, but a powerful sorcerer capable of wielding the very elements themselves. With a chorus of shrieks and cries, they fled from Hans's presence, leaving him standing triumphant beside the empty well. With the devils vanquished and his task completed, Hans returned home to his village, his heart lighter than it had been in years. As he approached his humble abode, he was greeted by the astonished faces of his family, who marveled at the sight of the wealth he had brought with him. But the real surprise awaited Hans when he encountered his rich brother, who eyed him with envy and suspicion. "Where did you come by such wealth, brother?" the rich man demanded, his voice tinged with jealousy. Hans, ever the trickster, replied with a sly grin, "Oh, dear brother, it was nothing more than a stroke of luck. I stumbled upon a treasure hidden deep within the forest, and it was mine for the taking." The rich brother, eager to replicate Hans's success, set out into the forest in search of his own fortune. But instead of treasure, he found himself face to face with a pack of wildcats, their eyes gleaming with hunger and malice. Undeterred by the danger, the rich brother attempted to tame the beasts, believing them to be the key to his newfound wealth. But the cats, sensing his foolishness, turned on him with a ferocity that sent him running for his life. In his haste to escape, the rich brother stumbled into the arms of the village guards, who promptly arrested him for his folly. And so, the once proud man found himself imprisoned for his greed and arrogance, a cautionary tale for all who dared to defy the laws of nature. Meanwhile, Hans reveled in his newfound prosperity, content in the knowledge that wit and cunning had triumphed over brute strength and wealth. With a smile of satisfaction, he watched as his family flourished and his village thrived, knowing that he had outsmarted even the most formidable of foes. And as the sun set on another day in the village, Hans reflected on his journey and the lessons he had learned along the way. For in the end, it was not the size of one's fortune or the strength of one's arm that determined success, but the cleverness of one's mind and the kindness of one's heart. And in that realization, Hans found true happiness, knowing that he had achieved victory not just for himself, but for all who dared to dream.